The United States military spends over $13 billion a year on food procurement. 15 of their core staples sit on your grocery store shelf right now. Total cost for a family of 4, one full year, under $200. Commercial survival food companies charge $2,000 to $4,000 for the same caloric output. They use the same ingredients, the same storage technology. The only difference is whether you know the list and the method. Today, you get the exact 15 items, ranked by military logistics priority. You get the storage protocol that gives them a 25 to 30-year shelf life, and you get the step-by-step process the government once taught every American family, then quietly stopped. But before I give you the list, you need to understand why you've never heard this before, and why the government used to teach it to every household in America. Welcome back. If you're new here, this channel exists for one reason: knowledge recovery. We don't invent claims. We don't sell fear. We find information that governments and institutions once made freely available, verify it against named sources, and hand it back to you. You're not a prepper. You're someone who refuses to pay a 2,000% markup for information the government used to hand out for free. Everything in this video is sourced from named military documents, named government programs, and verifiable procurement data. If you want to check our work, you can. That's the point. Subscribe if you want to join people who verify before they buy. And let's start with why the government stopped teaching this, because once you understand the timeline, the list makes a lot more sense. This story starts in the 1940s. During World War II, the United States military discovered it had a logistics nightmare. Food procurement was scattered across branches, duplicated, wasteful. After the war, the Hoover Commission recommended consolidation. The military listened. By the mid-1950s, the Defense Logistics Agency had formed, centralizing how the armed forces buy, store, and distribute food. That agency still operates today. It still buys the same categories of staples. Its annual subsistence budget is $13.4 billion. But here's what most people don't know. The military wasn't the only institution teaching food storage. In December of 1950, the Federal Civil Defense Administration was created. Its job was to prepare American civilians for nuclear attack, and food storage was central to that mission. The FCDA published detailed guides, specific item lists, specific quantities, specific storage methods. They told families to keep months, sometimes years, of food on hand. This wasn't fringe survivalism. This was federal policy. Then came Grandma's Pantry. That was an actual program name, backed by the National Grocers Association and the American National Dietetic Association. It encouraged families to maintain rotating food reserves using ordinary grocery staples. Your grandmother may have done this. She wasn't a prepper. She was following government guidance. The institutional path after that tells the real story. The FCDA became the Office of Civil Defense. That became the Defense Civil Preparedness Agency. In 1979, Executive Order 12127 created FEMA, which absorbed civil defense functions. After September 11, 2001, FEMA was folded into the Department of Homeland Security in 2003. And somewhere along that path, the guidance changed. Years of storage became months. Months became weeks. Weeks became 72 hours. The old publications were simply not reprinted. The old programs were not renewed. No announcement, no explanation. Just quiet institutional withdrawal. Meanwhile, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the largest civilian organization maintaining long-term food storage, independently kept the same list and the same method. They still recommend staples that can last 30 years or more. They still sell oxygen absorbers through their home storage centers. Their list mirrors the military's procurement categories almost exactly. 2 institutions, separated by purpose, arriving at the same 15 items. So the government stopped teaching it. The military never stopped doing it. Here are the 15 items they still procure, and that you can buy at Walmart this afternoon. The list is organized by military logistics priority. Caloric foundation first, then protein, then force multipliers, then morale. Number 1, white rice, the backbone of military subsistence worldwide. The Defense Logistics Agency ships thousands of tons annually through programs like Vision Corps, which alone moved 3,481 tons of rice. In Mylar with oxygen absorbers, white rice stores 25 to 30 years. Cost, roughly 30 cents a pound. Number 2, dried beans, pinto, black, or kidney. The military pairs beans with rice because together they form a complete protein. Same storage profile as rice, 25 to 30 years in Mylar. Cost, roughly 50 cents a pound. Number 3, rolled oats, compact, calorie-dense, and versatile. The military values oats because they require minimal preparation, just hot water, 25 to 30 years in Mylar. Cost, roughly 40 cents a pound. Number 4, pasta. Dry pasta stores 25 to 30 years in anaerobic conditions. The military uses it as a fast cooking carbohydrate source when fuel efficiency matters. Cost, roughly 50 cents a pound. Number 5, white sugar. Indefinite shelf life. Sugar doesn't need oxygen absorbers. It doesn't support microbial growth in its dry state. The military classifies it as a caloric multiplier and a preservation agent. Cost, roughly 50 cents a pound. Number 6, cooking oil. Here's the exception. Oil goes rancid. The military handles this through 48-hour prime vendor delivery, constant rotation. For home storage, plan on a 1 to 2 year rotation cycle. But it makes the list because without fat, your body cannot absorb vitamins A, D, E, or K. Cost, roughly $3 per 48-ounce container. Number 7, peanut butter, calorie dense, protein rich. Shelf life of 2 to 5 years depending on storage conditions. The military includes it in MREs for a reason. Maximum nutrition per ounce. Requires rotation, not long-term Mylar storage. Cost, roughly $3 per jar. Number 8, canned tuna. The military procures canned proteins in massive quantities. Tuna provides complete protein with a 3 to 5 year shelf life in the can. No Mylar needed. Cost, roughly $1 per can. Number 9, canned chicken. Same logic as tuna. 3 to 5 year shelf life. Rotate through normal consumption. Cost, roughly $2 per can. Number 10, powdered milk. The military uses non-fat dry milk because it stores 5 to 10 years in Mylar with oxygen absorbers. It fills the calcium and protein gap. Cost, roughly $8 per pound of powder. Number 11, honey. This is where ancient history validates military logistics. Archaeologists have found edible honey in Egyptian tombs over 3,000 years old. The military used honey for wound care in the Civil War and World War I. In 2007, the FDA cleared MediHoney as a medical-grade wound treatment. Honey has an indefinite shelf life. It doesn't need oxygen absorbers. Cost, roughly $5 per pound. Number 12, salt. Another indefinite shelf life item. Salt has been a military supply for thousands of years across every civilization that fielded an army. It preserves food, replaces electrolytes, and enhances palatability of everything else on this list. No oxygen absorber needed. Cost, roughly $1 for a 26-ounce container. Number 13, baking soda. Indefinite shelf life. No oxygen absorber needed. Here's why the military values it. Baking soda replaces 5 separate products. Leavening agent, cleaning agent, deodorizer, antacid, fire suppressant for grease fires. 1 item, 5 functions. Cost, roughly $3 for a 4-pound bag. Number 14, white vinegar, indefinite shelf life. Vinegar has been used in wound care since ancient civilizations. The military values it as a disinfectant, preservative, and cleaning agent. Cost, roughly $3 per gallon. Number 15, coffee and tea. The military classifies these as operationally critical morale items. That's not an exaggeration. Army doctrine, the TP4-41, addresses morale sustainment as a logistics function. In long-term storage scenarios, taste fatigue kills compliance. People stop eating. Coffee and tea cost almost nothing and dramatically improve quality of life. Bouillon cubes fall in this same category. Cost, roughly $10 for a substantial supply of all 3. That's the list. But the list without the storage method is just a grocery run. What turns these into a 25-year supply is the same technology the military uses. And it costs less than $50. Here's the science. The air you're breathing right now is 21% oxygen and 79% nitrogen. Oxygen is the enemy of stored food. It drives all 6 degradation pathways: bacterial growth, mold, insect infestation, oxidation, vitamin loss, and flavor deterioration. Eliminate the oxygen, and you shut down all 6 simultaneously. An oxygen absorber is a small packet containing iron powder, salt, and a moisture catalyst. When exposed to air, the iron oxidizes. It rusts. That chemical reaction consumes oxygen. Inside a sealed Mylar bag, a 2,000 to 2,500 cubic centimeters oxygen absorber reduces the oxygen level from 21% to below 0.1%. That happens within 4 hours. At that concentration, insect eggs and larvae suffocate. They die within 12 days. Aerobic bacteria and mold cannot reproduce. Oxidation stops. The food enters a state of suspended preservation. Mylar itself provides 4 layers of protection. It blocks light, which degrades vitamins. It blocks oxygen transmission through the bag wall. It blocks moisture migration, and it prevents insect penetration. 5 mil thickness is the specification. Thinner bags allow oxygen to slowly permeate through the material itself. One critical rule: only dry goods with moisture content below 10% go into Mylar with oxygen absorbers. Rice, beans, oats, pasta, powdered milk all qualify. Just foods with higher moisture content in an anaerobic environment create the conditions for Clostridium botulinum, the bacterium that produces botulinum toxin. This is the botulism risk. It's real, it's serious, and it's completely avoided by following the 10% moisture rule. 3 items on the list don't need oxygen absorbers at all: salt, sugar, and baking soda. Salt and sugar don't support microbial growth. Baking soda is chemically stable indefinitely. Sealing these in Mylar still protects against moisture and pests, but skip the oxygen absorbers. Saves you money and prevents waste. One more number worth remembering. For every 10 degrees Fahrenheit you reduce your storage temperature, you approximately double the shelf life. Food stored at 70 degrees Fahrenheit in a climate-controlled closet has a baseline of 25 to 30 years. Move that to a 60-degree basement, and you're approaching 40 to 50 years. A hot garage at 90 degrees cuts it in half. Temperature is the variable most people ignore, and it matters enormously. Now you know what to buy and how to store it. Let's talk about what you're actually saving, because the numbers are the part the survival food industry really doesn't want you to see. Here's the full cost breakdown. 300 pounds of white rice, $90 to $120. 120 pounds of dried beans, $60 to $80. 40 pounds of rolled oats, $16 to $20. 40 pounds of pasta, $20 to $30. 40 pounds of sugar, $20 to $25. Cooking oil, peanut butter, canned proteins, powdered milk, honey, salt, baking soda, vinegar, coffee, tea, and bouillon. Another $200 to $300 combined. Total food cost for a 1-year supply for a family of 4, $460 to $595. The core caloric staples alone, rice, beans, oats, pasta, sugar, and oil, come in under $200. Storage supplies, 5-gallon food-grade buckets, Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, and gamma seal lids, $50 to $100. Total program cost, under $700. Complete 1 full year, 4 people. Now look at the commercial alternative. Ready Hour sells a 1-year supply for $2,688. Premium brands go over $4,000. Open those buckets and you'll find rice, beans, oats, pasta, powdered milk in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, the same ingredients, the same packaging technology, the same shelf life. The difference is a label, a marketing budget, and a 500 to 2,000% markup. That markup exists because consumers have been systematically separated from the knowledge of how to do it themselves. When FEMA maintains 8 distribution centers with institutional food stockpiles while advising civilians to prepare for only 72 hours, the knowledge gap isn't an accident. It's an environment where a $40 bag of rice in branded packaging sells for $200 because the buyer doesn't know it's a $40 bag of rice. If you're the kind of person who'd rather spend $200 at Walmart than $4,000 on a branded bucket, this channel exists for you. Hit subscribe. Share this video because someone in your family needs to see this list. Now I want to be completely honest about what this list can and cannot do. Credibility matters more than hype. This is a caloric survival foundation. It is not a complete nutrition program. There is no vitamin C on this list. After several months without supplementation, scurvy becomes a real risk. The solution is simple. Add a bulk multivitamin supply, rotate canned fruits and vegetables through normal consumption, and consider sprouting seeds, which generate fresh vitamin C from dry storage. Fat rancidity is real. Peanut butter, powdered milk, and cooking oil require rotation schedules. 1 to 2 years for oil, 2 to 3 years for peanut butter and cool storage, 5 to 10 years for powdered milk and Mylar. These are not store and forget items. Storage temperature matters enormously. A hot garage or attic in the summer can have your shelf life projections. Cool, dark, and dry is not a suggestion. It's the most important variable after the seal itself. And taste fatigue is a real survival factor. Eating plain rice and beans for weeks will cause people to reduce their caloric intake voluntarily, which is dangerous. That's exactly why the morale items are on this list. Honey in oatmeal, bouillon in rice, coffee in the morning, sugar in anything, salt on everything. These aren't luxuries, they're compliance tools. With that understood, here's exactly how to do it, step by step, with the specific materials and the specific process. Materials: 5-gallon food-grade buckets with gamma seal lids. You can buy these new from Walmart or Amazon, or get them free from bakeries and restaurants. Just confirm they're food grade. 5 ml Mylar bags sized for 5-gallon buckets. Oxygen absorbers rated 2,000 to 2,500 cubic centimeters. A clothes iron or a hair straightener for heat sealing. A permanent marker for labeling. Step 1. Line the inside of your bucket with 1 Mylar bag. Let the excess hang over the sides. Step 2. Pour your dry goods into the bag. Leave 2 to 3 inches of headspace at the top. For a 5-gallon bucket, that's roughly 35 to 40 pounds of rice or beans. Step 3. Open only the oxygen absorbers you need for this session. 2 to 3 absorbers, rated 2,000 cubic centimeters per 5-gallon bag. Immediately reseal the remaining absorbers in a mason jar with a tight lid. They activate on contact with air and will be useless within an hour if left exposed. Step 4. Place the oxygen absorbers on top of the food inside the Mylar bag. Push them slightly below the surface so food surrounds them. Step 5. Press the Mylar bag to expel as much air as possible. Work from the bottom up toward the opening. Step 6. Heat seal the bag at 375 to 420 degrees Fahrenheit. Run the iron or straightener across the top opening in a straight line. Then do a second seal half an inch below the first. Double sealing provides redundancy. If one seal fails, the other holds. Step 7. Fold the sealed bag down into the bucket and secure the Gamma Seal lid. Label the outside with the contents and the date. Store in a cool, dark, dry location. Within 4 hours, you'll notice the Mylar bag is pulled tight against the food. That's the oxygen absorber working. The bag should feel vacuum sealed. If it doesn't tighten within 24 hours, your seal may have failed. Open and reseal. For supply sources, Amazon and Walmart carry Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. LDS home storage centers sell these supplies at near cost and are open to non-members in many locations. Food-grade buckets are available at any hardware store or free from commercial bakeries. That's the complete system. The same list, the same method, the same science the military uses every day. Let's bring this together. During World War II, the military consolidated food procurement and identified the staples that keep armies fed. During the Cold War, the government taught those same staples to every American family through name programs like Grandma's Pantry, backed by federal agencies and national organizations. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints independently maintained the same list and the same method for decades and still does today. The Defense Logistics Agency still procures these categories with a $13.4 billion annual budget. The knowledge never disappeared. It was withdrawn from civilian circulation. The publications were not reprinted. The programs were not renewed. And into that knowledge, Vacuum stepped in industry, selling $4,000 branded buckets of the same rice and beans you can buy for $40. You now have the list, you have the method, you have the science, you have the cost breakdown. A family that buys these 15 items at a grocery store and stores them in Mylar with oxygen absorbers has done exactly what the United States military does, at grocery store prices. Someone you care about needs this list. Send them this video. The next video goes deeper into water purification. The one supply more critical than food, the one where the markup is even more extreme. I'll see you there.